Hi there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the narrative that was given to us. So some of the themes from McLeod et al. 2011 that I think apply directly to Tyler's situation include the dyadic relationship life patterns influence caregivers' roles and responsibilities. So essentially, McLeod indicated that the caretaker had to perhaps changed the relationship where prior to that it was a dyad of mutual decisions. But after that, the caretaker would oftentimes have to act independently for the first time within the relationship. And the caretaker had to let go of these boundaries that the relationship put on them and allow for the healing and caretaking process to unfold. I think this applied to Tyler's situation in the narrative because he's used to being in that partnership with Lacey, but now what's going on and what's yet to happen is an unknown. It mentioned that he struggled about thoughts of the future. He doesn't know. He even mentioned that he doesn't know how to be Lacey's husband anymore. And he had thoughts and ideas of what's to come. Right? They wanted that big family and to take lots of time doing very, activities that were physically demanding that perhaps Lacey may not be able to do anymore. But now a lot of that's up in the air, and so it's going to require you know it's going to require him to make decisions outside of that dyad and to really figure out what that relationship looks like going forward. Another theme that I thought applied to Tyler's situation was that the life patterns of caring for self and others were altered. So McLeod et al. 2011 noticed explained that after um, at least in the article situation after they went through the CABG, the caretakers' day-to-day life was altered. It changed. Some of them had to move their beds from different areas. Some of them had to, do different activities that they didn't have to do prior to that. But their day-to-day life and functioning changed. As a result, it could end up in physical and emotional exhaustion, and it's a time of very high demand from the caretaker. I think Tyler exemplified some of these um, concerns and the fact that his life would be changed moving forward, and the fact that he expressed he doesn't want to he was looking forward to doing a lot of their hobbies, which were um, part of an active lifestyle with his wife, and he's also scared about how this injury will affect their sex life. Obviously, after a an amputation, there are going to be major changes and that role is going to differ. And so that is something that he's going through right now. And that's another theme that I think applied directly to Tyler. A third theme from McLeod et al. 2011 that I thought applied to Tyler was life patterns of certainty and knowing were limiting. So the article by McLeod et al. Indicating that there's an uncertainty about what the recovery process will look like and what to expect. Oftentimes in the article it mentioned that even at first, if at first caretakers were confident going home with their medications and caring for their um, spouses, that they would be thrown off by the progressions in recovery and rehabilitation. There would be periods where nothing would happen, and there would be rapid periods of change. And so, that certainty is gone. And I think we definitely saw that in the narrative that was given about Tyler. I mean, he quite literally says that he doesn't know how to be your husband going forward. That's about as uncertain as you can get going from someone that you married and were planning to spend the rest of your life with. In addition, he doesn't know if his goals of having a big family and maintaining that active lifestyle are attainable after what Lacey has gone through. So those are three themes that I think apply directly to Tyler's situation. A theme that McLeod et al. 2011 talked about that I do not believe resonates with Tyler is the awareness of life pattern gave meaning and new perception on life to live. Tyler's experience with what Lacey went through is so new that at least it seemed like from the narrative, he didn't have enough time to process it and to really understand and reflect on what this means in the grand scheme of things. I mean, as I mentioned before, the narrative literally states that he quote does not know how to be her husband now that this has happened. Um, he's still kind of unfolding this. This is the time when, as the nurse, we should be there with the patient as opposed to doing things for the patient. Like Ferris uh, says in the text, that Ferris 2020, excuse me, says in the text, that's a time where we should be with the patient as opposed to do for them. And we should be with them so that, he can kind of reflect and kind of see how this all fits into his life, and if there is a new perception and perspective on life after this. Um, as I kind of touched on now, I think the goal of nursing care with working with Tyler would be, as I mentioned, to be with him as opposed to do for him, as Ferris 2020 said in the text. So this would include partnering with Tyler to focus on what's important to him. Every caretaker is going to be different. Just because one caretaker thinks one thing, or just because the McLeod et al. 2011 article said that caretakers feel one way, each person's different. So by partnering with Tyler, will be able to hopefully at least understand and engage what is important for him. We can help guide that reflection and facilitate understanding, by which transcendence can occur as people go through times. That's what the text said, is that in order for transcendence to occur, they have to go through these difficult times and figure this out. So, the ultimate goal would hopefully be, through working with Tyler and as he progresses throughout Lacey's recovery, for him to work through a process that results in acceptance and self-realization of what his new role is as a husband, what Lacey's new role is as a wife, and how they move on from this together. So I think, in order to kind of gauge how well Tyler can care for Lacey going forward, the question stated that in 2 weeks' time, what interventions can we do to perhaps help Tyler recognize adaptive and maladaptive? So I think one of the first things is to kind of explain to Tyler the benefits of supportive caretaking. So Breyer et al. 2018 did a study where they gauged support systems of people who had below the knee amputations or lower limb amputations, and correlated whether they had good support or bad support to different results. And what they found was that those that had good support systems from their primary caregiver actually reported an increase in satisfaction levels and decreased rates of depression post-procedure. So I think making Tyler known about this, and the fact that his positive and good support for Lacey can help her in the long run, and perhaps rekindle some of that relationship that they had before, is important for him to know. And I think just education about what some adaptive behaviors and maladaptive behaviors may be going forward would be important for him to know. So I think some signs that indicate that Tyler would be able to manage his caretaking after the 2 weeks that they're inpatient outside on his own would be, some positive signs would be, confidence in assisting with caregiving needs. If he is, taking the responsibility of doing it in the hospital or offering to help the nurses with that caretaking. I think another thing is, planning with Lacey about what's to come, trying to figure out, now that they're in the situation, where do they go from here? Perhaps excitement about future endeavors. And then also setting up support systems so that if and when he does get tired or does need that support, he has someone to go to. I think all of those would be adaptive signs that Tyler is ready to assume the caretaking roles of Lacey. I think some maladaptive signs would be frustration on either Tyler or Lacey's part. If Tyler's becoming frustrated, we should find out why and what barriers are in place for him. On the same hand, if Lacey's getting frustrated, perhaps we should explore that and see why. Some other maladaptive behaviors may be distancing of self on Tyler or Lacey's part, or expressions of uncertainty. As I mentioned, regardless of whether we're showing adaptive or maladaptive, I think the priority is to be with the patient and help them work through this situation so that they can achieve transcendence and grow from this instance. So thank you very much, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions.